Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
good. I got to rename myself Mario. Otherwise, I won't get the video.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Let me know if I put a new router in here in this room.
Oh,
Let me know
okay.
if there's a problem, if you can't hear me or I freeze or something like that.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
Okay. We are on Daf 117, Kuf Yud Zayin, but we're going to start with the Mishnah
Mishnah.
at the bottom of Kuf Yud Kuf Tet Zayin. Hi, Mario. So I put I have a new router here. So let me know if there's any problem,
Yeah.
okay?
Okay.
So we're in the Mishnah of Kuftet Zayin on the bottom. We're going to do Kuf Yud Zayin 117 tonight. Choymer b'chelim mi b'dam. V'choymer b'dam mi b'chelim. We know that there are two products of an animal that you may not eat on the penalty of kores. One is chaylev, which are the prohibited fats, like chaylev ala ksolim, chaylev ala v'yaseres ala kaved, the various fats in the abdomen, those are prohibited on pain of kores. Similarly, dam, certain type of dam, specifically the dam nefesh, the spurting blood, you also get kores if you eat dam. This Mishnah says, choymer b'chelev mi b'dam, v'choymer b'dam mi b'chelev. There are aspects of chelev that are more stringent than dam, and there are aspects of dam that are more stringent than chelev. Choymer b'chelev shachelev moyalin, shachelev shachelev moyalin boy. So animals that are certainly, there are three types of kodshe kodshim: ola, chatas, and asha. All the other korbanos are in the category of kodshim kalim: shlamim, bechor, toida, meiser, pesach. What's the difference? Kodshe kalim. So for kodshe kodshim, certainly in ola, all of it is offered to Hashem. There is nothing that you as the individual can benefit from. By a korban chatas or asham, the kohanim can eat the meat, but the chaylev and everything else has to be, once you do the zrika sadam, you are chayiv mi'ila. Now, by kotre kalim, when the owners bring a shlomim, for example, you eat it after shchita and after zrika. However, the chaylev has to be burned. So since the chaylev has to be burnt, there's me'ila. You'd have to bring an asham and you'd be fined 20% above what you benefited. That's number one. Chayav and alav mishum pigul noiser v'tomei. So if an animal became pigul, we know how that happens. If the kohen has in mind to do the zrika tomorrow, so then the animal, if you eat a kazayis of that animal, you're chayav kores for pigul. Now, if you ate chaylev and it happened to be from a pigul animal, you're going to be chayav two. If you did it b'shogeg, you'd have to bring two korban chatas. Same thing, noiser. Noiser is if you leave over the korban till the next morning. If you eat a kazayis of noiser, you're chayav kores. Same thing. If you are tummy and you eat of the kodshim in a state of tumah, you get kores. But if you ate chaylev or noser, that's chaylev, you'd get double. Mashenkem bedam. Number one, if you benefit from dam, there's no me'ila. Number two, if you eat dam from an animal that's pigul noiser v'tamei, you only get the punishment of dam. You don't get the punishment of pigul noiser v'tamei. However, choimer b'dam, shadam noig b'beima chayav v'oiv. Blood is prohibited both whether it's a domesticated animal, cow, sheep, and goat, or an undomesticated animal like a deer, and oaf, and a bird. Bain tmein, bain torin. Whether the animal is kosher or non-kosher, you're not allowed to eat blood. The prohibition of chaylev is only from a kosher animal, not a chaya, not an oaf. So Manan Emili, how do we know that chaylev v'kochim kalim is your chayav me'il if you benefit from it? Amrav Yanei Damar Kro Kasher Yuram Mishor Zevach Hashlami. That which is removed from a shore of a shlamim. V'chimala madam Mishor Zevach Hashlami me'ata. Harizeh ba'alalamei v'nim salameid. The Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur also brings a shore, brings a par, and make his shore Zevach Hashlami l'par Kohen Mashiach. And the Kohen Gadol also would bring a par Kohen Mashiach if he made a mistake in Psak. Ma par Kohen Mashiach yesh bo me'ila. There's me'ila the whole way. There are parts, meaning the chaylev, that you'd be chayiv me'ila for. What's wrong with the pasuk Rebbe learned? It says kol chaylev l'Hashem. The Rabbi said mur kochim kalim l'me'ila. That chaylev of kochim kalim is you're chayiv me'ila from it. Why do you have to come onto this strange pasuk from the par kohen Mashiach? Rabbi Itzrich, I need both. Because if I only had kol chaylev l'Hashem, I mean a chaylevin, your seres close, which are other parts, the diaphragm and the kidneys that are the emurim, maybe would not. There's no me'ila. So because Rachmana Kasher Yuram, everything that is offered by the par kohen Mashiach is offered is your chayiv me'ila for, even for regular shlamim. Because of Rachmana Kasher Yuram, havamina chaylev ayah the lesser b'shor lo. So in a tail of a sheep, there is chaylev, but a shore doesn't have a tail. So I would think there's no me'ila, because we're going to call chaylev to include even the chaylev of a sheep's tail, that you would be chayiv me'ila if you benefited from it. Now, apparently, it's known that you can eat the chaylev of a tail. But if you're calling it chaylev, it should be prohibited. Amar lei, alech amar kra, kol chaylev b'shor v'chesed v'eis. Dover hashover b'shor v'chesed v'eis. Chaylev is only prohibited to things that are common to an ox, a sheep, and a goat. The tail is not. Only a sheep has it. Therefore, there's no prohibition of chaylev. You can eat it. Ravashi amar, chaylev ha'ala ikri, but chaylev stam lo ikri. It's called the fat of the tail, but regular chaylev it's not called. Well, if it's not chaylev, elamayata lo yimalu bo. Elamachvata kid Rav Zvid. So the Rav Zvid said, kol chaylev shor v'chesed v'eis. It's that limud that we stick with to teach me the din that you can eat chaylev, but you can't benefit from it. Then the Mishnah said, Mashen ken b'dam. Dam doesn't work the same way. There is no me'ila, and if it's pigger noise of a tome, you don't get the double whammy. Menon emili Omar Kra, the Omar Kra lachem. It says kinefesh abasar badamhu, vanine sativ lachem ala mizbeach. The lachem is you can benefit it. You can benefit from it, and you're not chayv me'ila. Another way of learning the Rabbi Shmuel Tana lechaper nesativ v'lo me'ila. The blood gives you atonement, but not Mila. Rav Yechon Amar Kra, who? It says, Ki Adam hu banefesh yichaper. Kapora kila achar kapora. Malach kapora in bo meila. After you do Zrika Saddam, so there's no meila anymore by most of the things. You can eat it, you can eat the meat. So after they kapora in bo meila. So before kapora, there's no meila. For it vema hu lachar kapora klevnei kapora. Malach te kapora yesh bo meila. There is meila before kapora. Af lachar kapora yesh bo. So the Gemara says it can't be. If you completed the mitzvah, if you did Zrika Saddam, you can't have Mila. Frankly, more below. But a Truma Sadeshan, removing the ash from the Mizbech, which was done every morning. The Nasa mitzvah, so but you're not allowed to benefit from them. Tichsiv, V'samo Eichlam Mizbech. You got to put it there and you can't use it. And for the Gemara, Mishum Davi Truma Sadeshan, Uvigde Kuhuna, the Kohen Gadol wore begodim on Yom Kippur. It says Vinicham Sham. You can't use it again, and therefore you have two mitzvahs, two psukim, Truma Sadeshan and the big day Kuhuna are Shnei Ksuvim Aboim Ke'echad. Teach me the same halacha. Shnei Ksuvim Aboim Ke'echad and Malamdim you can't teach to other places. So the other places there's no meila. Anich l'Rabbanan Damri Vinicham Sham Malamed Shetun in Geniza. That's good according to the opinion that says Vinicham Sham means you have to put it away into Shemesh and never use it. El Rab Doisid Amar Shalosh Tamish Ben Liyom Kippur Macher. But a regular kohen hedyot could use it. You can't just use it for next year's Yom Kippur. Ma iklamema, then you don't have another Shnei Ksuvim Aboim Ke'echad. Ela Mishum Davi Trumas Adeshan Vegla Rufa. When the din of Vegla Rufa, the decapitated calf, where a body was found between two villages, and you have to measure the closest village, and then the Zkanim of that village have to go down and decapitate the calf from the back of its head, and that's the kapara. And you can't use the egla rufa for any benefit. So you have another halacha, which is shnei ksum aboim ke'echad. Shnei ksum aboim ke'echad, ein melamdim, so you have trumas sadesh egla rufa. Hanich l'mandar ein melamdim. L'mandar melamdim ma'ik l'meimar. There is an opinion that says even when you have Shnei Ksuvim, you can teach it to other halachas. And for the Gemara, Trei Miyut Iksiv. There are, besides what we've learned, there are other miyutim. Ksiv Visamo. And Ksiv Ha'arufa. So, to tell you that it's only these things that are miyutim, that you can't have benefit, but you can't learn it to other things. So we have three psukim by dam. Ki nefesh habasor badam hu, v'ani nesativ lachem, lechaper ki adam hu banefesh yechaper. Plus a cry lamali badam, chad lemutim in noiser. To say that if the dam is noiser, you don't get a separate punishment. Chad lemutim in meila. The other sources to say there's no meila. Chad lemutim mituma. But you don't need one for pigul. There's none. Now, the meat of a korban needs a matir, needs a permitter to be. This dam has to be thrown in the mizbech to permit you to eat the meat. Dam is itself the matir. So kol sheyesh lo matirin bein lodem bein lamizbech chayav lo mishum pigul. The dam gufei matir hu. So since dam is the matir, pigul doesn't apply to it. So you don't need a pasuk to exclude pigul and dam. Harla kolabosar, harla kolabosar, harla kolabosar. Haor Mishnah. Haor, the hide, varoitev, gravy, vakefa, the spices and the sediment that come down from a roast. V'ha'alal, which are shreds of meat that are still attached to the hide after you use the knife to trim it off. V'ha'atzamos, bones, vagidim, the sinews, v'kronayim, the horns, v'tlofim, the hooves. Mitztarfin l'tamei tumas oichel. So oichel, food, does not become tamei unless it's got the size of a kibetza. Now, if the food is less than a kibetza, but these things, the hide, the gravy, etc., are added to it, so you have a betza, so it'll work. Avalo tumas nevelas. Now, nevela has to be a kazayas. It has to be a kazayas basar only. If you don't have a kazayas basar, these things are not mitzaref to the basar to give you tumas nevelas. Kayotzebo, a Jew did shchita on a pig, had in mind that it should be food for the goy. And the animal has not died yet, umefarcheses. So the animal is food for the goy. Metamet tumasoichlin. It's not nevela yet, so it be considered food. Avalot tumas nevelas until it dies. Achetamus until it stops shaking. Or achayatis is rosh. If you cut off its head, then no matter if it shakes, it's considered nevela right away. Riba l'tame tumas oichlim imasha riba l'tame tumas nevelas. So you see, it's easier for something to become tumas oichlim because you have all these things that can be added to the food itself to have a beitza than it is for things to be added to nevela. Rabbi Yehuda Omer ha'alala mechunas. If you gather these shreds of meat into one place, in yesh bo kazayis b'malkam echad chayiv alav, and you eat it, you're going to be chayiv malchus for eating nevela. Tanina lahad tan rabbana. We've learned this. Now, food has two things. It has a shomer and a yad. A shomer is a protective, like a peel is a shomer. A bone attached to meat, that's like a yad. So shoimrim l'tum makala. There's a law regarding a shomer for easy tuma, the loy shoimrim l'tum chamura. But regarding nevela tuma, which is called tuma chamura, the shomer doesn't work. Let's see how. Shomer l'tuma kalamina alan. In order for a food to become tumas oichlin, it needs to be a kibetza. If you have less than the kibetza of the food, but the klipa, the peel, the shomer adds to kibetza, it works. The Torah is well. Al kol zer zerua asher yizareya kider shabnei adam boitzim lizriya. When you take out wheat to seed it, you take out the wheat with its peel. Chita bekliposa, so or bekliposa, barley with its husk. Vadasha beklipot, and lentil. So they themselves are not food, but they're protectors. So the shomer combines with the food to give you tumas oichlin. How do we know that the shomer does not add to the meat itself to give you kazayis nevela? The Ton Rabbana. Beniv lasa. It says v'chiyamus min habeima asher hi lachem leachla. Hanogea beniv lasa yitma ada aref. So you got to touch the meat. V'lo ba'or she'en lav kazayis basar. But if you touch the hide, which doesn't have a kazayis of basar, then you don't become tamei. Okay, we'll stop here. Tomorrow, again, we're going to learn at 7:00.
Mhm.
Okay.